Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, John A. Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 1 of the anime series, Dance with Devils. Now, this was a series that I actually had heard nothing about prior to a conversation with a fellow anime fan on my fall 2015 interests and coverage video. Because I hadn't heard of it before, I actually took a look at the PV and was really drawn to it. I really liked the sort of gothic horror-esque vibe that it was giving me, talking about, Forbidden Grimoire and everything like that, or actually singing about it in the PV, which are certain sequences represented in this first episode as well. And I really just wanted to check it out of curiosity, because I kind of am feeling like I need that kind of a fix, like a gothic horror-esque, I'm somebody who, my mother was a big-time gothic horror fan and everything like that. Dark Shadows was one of her all-time favorite shows, and I just, especially that it's October that this is debuting in, I'm just really in the mood for something like that, something with that sense of ambiance and, the mysticism and the vampires and, all that kind of stuff, the fantasy elements. And this first episode was highly intriguing to me, because it seemed like it kind of began almost like a rock opera. There are two sequences where, like, you see the main character Ritsuka singing on her way to school after waking up in the morning and making breakfast for she and her mother. We find out that her mother is apparently, her occupation is translation work, and she's working on these English fantasy novels or something along those lines. But we see that her mother may have some superstitious qualities as well, because she's giving her a pendant and refilling the pendant with something we find out later in the episode is called verbena. I'm not exactly sure what that is, maybe herbs and spices of a sort. And as well as there are markings outside the house, protectoral markings and such. And she's very determined that her daughter not leave the house without the pendant, and to not take it lightly. That is very important to her safety, and she kind of seems taken aback by that. But as I say, as she's off to school, she's singing this song, and we're kind of getting, through the lyrics, a little bit of her personality. She's not necessarily immediately susceptible to these fantasy elements and not believing in, the happily ever after kind of story framework, which is a perfect contrast for everything else that then unfolds when she's gone to school. We meet a couple of her friends, and she is summoned, for all intents and purposes, to what is known as the third library by this guy, the Great Rem. He's like the student council president of the third library, I guess, but the school as a whole as well. And, he's pretty elitist. He's pretty, this is where the second sort of rock opera event happens in the episode, when she's making her way to this third library. And we see he and I guess some of his fellow student council singing this song about kind of, luring in young ladies like this or something like that. And it's kind of like, what is going on? And then it's only that much further expounded upon when she confronts them. And, basically this Rem guy is talking about, well, we have some information saying you're going against the rules in some way, shape, or form. And he seems to stop time and get in really close to her, and he's whispering into her ear, I doubt she can even hear it, maybe on a subconscious level, if at all, that he wants to ask her a question. And we don't actually find out what that is, because then that pendant she's wearing comes alive and seems to fend off whatever it is, whatever this power is that he's wielding. And you see all these other guys like agape, like, wow, this just got really interesting. What's going on? So I guess if they've been at this before, they've never encountered somebody that has a protectoral barrier pendant like this. And it's, again, she leaves kind of ticked off, like, look, I didn't do anything wrong. You're not even going to tell me. You're not even going to explain. That's it. I'm having no more to do with you. Her friend even asks her, what are you going to do if you're summoned again? Well, I'm not going, I'm not going back there. And we're kind of left curious. What was that all about? What did he want to ask her? Why does he suddenly have interest in her? What are these, disturbances at school that are relating to her, that they suspect she's involved in, that kind of thing. And of course, she makes her way home, And it's that much crazier because she's got these guys in these dark cloaks and hoodies and everything ransacking her entire house. You see the protectoral marker outside the front gate has been sort of scraped off. So I guess they found a way inside. Maybe before that, while that marker was still there, while it was still fresh, they couldn't get beyond the barrier of that gate, But they're ransacking the house. They're looking for something. She comes around the back. She sees her mother splayed out on the floor, and she's like beckoning her away. She says that the mother was bleeding, and other than a little bit of red on her neck, I don't see anything that really resembled blood. But it looked like the mother had received some kind of beating to be, flailing on the floor like that, or as little as possible to get any more negative attention. And she goes naturally to the police, comes back, the entire house is completely fixed up again, completely refurbished, like nothing ever happened to it, with the exception of that marker still being scratched away. It's not there anymore. And everything just seems like it's back where it was. Like nothing, none of that ever happened. Nobody had ever ransacked the house. And she's, of course, made to look like a fool. She calls her brother. Now, we've heard in some of the dialogue in the early portion of the episode that the brother is in Europe. And it seems like there are a lot of ties that go back to Europe between the grandfather and the mother's translation work and the brother, who appears to be like, maybe a Catholic priest or something along those lines. He's wearing sort of the priestly like robes, and he's got a cross that he, holds at one point. When he gets this call, he's like shocked over it. And it seems as though he might have some idea what this is all about, because he warns Ritsuko, stay the hell away from the house. Go stay with your friend. Until I'm there, don't even go back there. It doesn't matter if our mom returns and all this kind of stuff. So it seems like he has an idea, an inkling of what this is all amounting to, what it's involving. And, she's completely out of the loop as she's packed up and actually made an appointment to go hang out at her friend Azuna's, She's then accosted by these, they kind of look like they're straight out of Kingdom Hearts. This trio of these vampires, I guess is what they are, because we see their eyes glowing red, and we see some of them have, the fangs and everything. And this is where, again, much like in the sort of precursor, almost dream sequence, I don't know exactly what it was, but that very operatic singing the song about the Forbidden Grimoire. Where is the Grimoire? We actually hear it spoken in English as well, which threw me for a loop. But here they are again asking, where is the Forbidden Grimoire? That is apparently what they were looking for in her house, and she knows nothing about it. It's like she's stunned, and they got her down on her knees. They're like being very forceful with her. And then it completely took a left turn with the Rem guy showing up out of the blue, and he's, basically manhandling this trio of vampires, two of them at least. He reduces to ash as, basically Ritsuka is wiping her eyes and she's not seeing what's going on. And he says they just, spirited away. They ran off. And he saved her. He protected her. And he's just very interested in her. And it's still very much left by the end of the episode, like, why? Are his interests in league with theirs? Was this all perchance a setup? That he would come in and rescue her and seem like the hero just so he could get in closer to her and try to piece together where the grimoire is, if that is his, impetus behind doing this, or is he actually, some other faction or something like that? Does he have his own interests and he just happened to be there to save her? I don't know. It's very intriguing. She's got her friend waiting for her, but she's brought back to his like mansion or whatever it is. And he's kind of cold about, when she's thanking him for saving her, for putting in a call tentatively to the police to say, hey, we got to get on finding her mother, trying to use his influence for her benefit, for her family's benefit. He's just kind of like, well, just realize I'm not really doing this for you. I just want, a well-balanced equilibrium back at school. I'm, the class president, whatever it is. I just want everything kosher when we go back to school. And, she definitely seems off-put by that, but then, of course, you have the influx of the little puppy who, is it going to be like characters can transform into animals and such like that, and this is one of these guys on the student council, I don't know, or maybe his pet, that kind of thing. And as I say, I just really love that rock opera gothic horror vibe that it gave me toward the beginning of the episode. But then, of course, we never have any really, profound musical outbursts again. So I don't know if this is going to be the norm, if it was just, this is something we may encounter when new characters or, sects of characters debut. I'm not exactly sure if that's going to be a returning feature or they just did it, for this one episode. But I kind of wouldn't mind if they did, if they brought those musical elements back into play on and off amidst this unfolding story. I think it would give this series a lot of personality if they did, even though I am, intrigued so far by the story we leave off with episode 1. And as I say, as to the animation, at least to me, it's very reminiscent. The character designs, the details of them, the outfits they wear, of more recent series in the last few years. One that just ended a couple, seasons back, Hibiki Euphonium, which I covered episodically, as well as Galilei Donna. Just the way Ritsuka looks, the detail in the characterization of her friends and everything like that, just really draws me into this series. I really enjoy looking at it, from the backgrounds to more noticeably the character designs themselves. And it does have me curious, what is this grimoire? What does it represent? Is there a history to it? Why are these people gunning after it? And it seems like there is just a mild undertone so far of maybe these guys, trying to romance her or something like that, which, as per the conversation that I talked about on my, fall interests video, was said to be pretty much the makings of this story. You have all these guys vying for her attentions, and but I like that it's not just, that isn't the simplicity of the story. There is all this stuff about fantasy and vampires and monsters and grimoires and ghosts and ghouls, potentially, and all this kind of stuff, which the vibe, again, for this time of year, for fall, for October, really stands out to me, especially amidst all the other series that are coming out this season. And so I'll be tentatively curious to see where we go from here, and if episodically it keeps up the quality of this first episode and I end up really wanting to talk about it, I'll continue to cover it. If that diminishes, I may decide not to. Remains to be seen. But I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 1 of Dance with Devils, if you watched it, and if it was something that you found to be, entertaining, exciting. If not, why not? Let me know in the comments below. Love having the conversation with you guys. We can agree to disagree, and I'd certainly love to hear from anyone that this particular series isn't working for. Again, talking about those musical outbursts, if you will. It was just interesting to me that they were kind of out of nowhere, and then we never really picked up with that theme again throughout the rest of the episode. So, I could see people being confused by that. I could see people being taken aback by that. And if they don't continue on with that, I myself may even be like, WTF, So, yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.